We're going to look at the Auto Resupply feature in Locate Inventory. I'm Lance, inventory software expert since 2006. I think, honestly, one of the reasons people buy inventory software is so they can leverage the automation power and the calculating power of the software. And that's often found in the auto purchasing tools. It's a reward for using the software right. Let's go take a look. All right, so to get there, we're going to go to the purchasing area. We'll go to purchasing, purchase order, and that brings us to a list of the purchase orders. We're going to click on the plus symbol to get to the purchase order screen to create new purchase orders. And now you have a list on the left-hand side and a blank area over here for your purchase orders. Go over to the right, and there's our Auto Resupply button we're looking for. We'll click on that. And it gives us this pop-up with some options here. Honestly, 99 times out of 100, you're just going to click Next on this screen. So we'll click Create Orders, and it gives us some purchase orders to create. That was fast. So what did it do? How does it know that those are the purchase orders you need to create? Let's go down a short rabbit hole and look at what it's looking at to come up with those numbers. So I'll click cancel here. I'm specifically going to look at this one, Thomas Net. I cheated before this video. I know which part it's looking for, so I know which part to show you. So we're going to go to that part. Go to that part and take a look at the inventory tab right here on the part screen. Oops, that's the wrong part. Okay, now we're on the right part here. Blue cotton fabric, part number A00054. And we have negative 260 available. 0 on hand. So basically we're 260 short. 0 on hand. 260 allocated. If we want to know what it's allocated to, we click right here. And it shows us that all these work orders are wanting this part number. So that's one thing it looks at. It also looks at anything that's on order as well. Which means, is there already an outstanding purchase order that we're waiting on to come in? Then also, it's looking at these numbers. I'm going to click Manage Vendor Parts, and it's going to show us some information that the vendor cares about when we buy this part from them. Come down here to the bottom where it says Thomas Net. The vendor part number is this part number. This is the vendor part name. And then we've got a minimum order quantity and an order increment. So if the system thinks we need 1,100, it's going to tell us to buy 1,500 because we can only buy in increments of 500. If the system thinks we need 700, it's going to say, nope, you have to buy 1,000 because that's the minimum order requirement. And then it'll put the lead time in days and the unit of measure and all that great stuff. So if you get to the point where you can look at these numbers and look at those numbers and guess what the system is going to tell you, you're in a good place. You're getting along well with the software. If you don't understand how the software is coming up with these numbers, then definitely want to look in and research and study until you understand how the system's coming up with these numbers so you can confidently and comfortably use the feature. So we can guess just by looking at this that the system is going to tell us to buy 1,000 because that's the minimum purchase requirement, right? And we're short 260. Now there's one more thing it considers, and that's reorder points. If you want to see what reorder points the system has, go to Manage on the part screen and click on Site Details, Reorder Points. So reorder points are assigned per site. We're specifically looking at this main site, and we don't have any reorder points set up for this. So reorder points are not going to be a factor in this calculation. Reorder points tell us to buy before we're out or before we're short. So you should consider assigning reorder points to your most popular parts that you need to keep in stock and you can't afford to run out of. And maybe even put a little bit of cushion, some safety stock in the calculation of the reorder point. We'll cover that in another video. Reorder points deserve a video all in and of itself. So let's go back to the purchase order and then over to the resupply, auto resupply. Now that you've seen the vendor numbers, the inventory numbers, and the reorder points, and you understand that those are all the numbers that it's looking at, we can feel more comfortable and confident using this tool. So I'll go ahead and click create orders. Bam, brings it up, says here's some orders we're going to create. Yes, we want to create them. Click create orders, and it looks like it didn't do anything, but it did. Grays out and says stop clicking me, so I'm going to click the X right there, and now it just sort of disappears. So the best place to find it is coming over here to the left hand side, click this arrow, and then let's look at today's date. Today is 2/22, and let's just look at unissued purchase orders. So you notice it only created 2 purchase orders, but when we were on the auto resupply, there were 3 purchase orders. One of them was blank. If you want to create the blank one, you have to click the Force PO button or click on the blank one. Let me show you that again. So we come to Auto Resupply, and there's Force PO Yes. If you select Force PO Yes, it will ignore the fact that there are unissued purchase orders, which can be good, right? If you're forgetting to clean up some of your history and you have some unissued purchase orders that you need to go either void, delete, or issue. And it will create a purchase order that does not have a vendor. My preference, let's go back there, is to leave Force New PO off and click this link right here. If you click the link, it'll actually create that purchase order. So if we want a purchase order just to see what it wants us to make or what it wants us to purchase from who knows who, we can click on that and it'll tell us, hey, we need to buy these, but you don't have any vendors associated with them. So that's a nice little list that you can screenshot or something and then go through and assign the vendors to these parts. Also, some of these parts may be parts that you manufacture and you don't want to assign vendors to them. So once you get your file all cleaned up and working nicely, then that list will just show things that you manufacture and never buy. Okay, let's delete that PO, and here we are at our list. See here, because I clicked the Force PO button, it created these ones too. I really only want these first 2, so I can select those and delete them. Okay, so here's our unissued POs. Now we can go through, click on the PO, and issue them. So we need to buy this fabric. Hey, let's see how many yards. There we go. Yep, that's the minimum order requirement. Remember, there was like 200 and something needed yards, but the minimum order requirement was 1,000. So it was smart enough to override that and say, nope, you need 1,000. So then we come up here and click issue. Click, or change unissued to issued. So now the purchase order is ready to receive. We go to the next purchase order on the list, repeat and repeat. So now here's this unissued purchase order. We'll click on that. Is there anything we need to change? Anything we need to update? Yes, we may want to email this purchase order. There's the purchase order report. And at the bottom of this report is an email report button. We can use that if we'd like to email the purchase order. I'll email it to myself. Send. Oh, it wants a subject field. I'll just say test, test. Click send. And there we go. Email sent. Now I can come over to my Outlook and open that up. There we go. Now, of course, you can make that email template prettier, put your logo and everything on there. But there's the purchase order report. We'll preview it in the email. You can preview it there or in the PDF. So anyways, email the purchase order, and we can either issue it before or after. But a purchase order is issued. That means the vendor knows about it. We gave it to them, and it's coming, right? There you go. There's the Auto Resupply button right there. The heavy lifting, highly automated, heavy calculating feature. Be sure to play around with it in your test file or your tests account and get familiar with how it comes up with those calculations so you can feel comfortable and confident using it.